I'm a hustler, man. I'm always get it off the muscle, man. Tryna make them hundreds bust the rubber bands. Rain, sleet, hell or snow, I'm tryna get it in. Woo! I go door to door, stacking up them dollars like dominoes. I go door to door. I'm a hustler, I sell ice to a Eskimo.
This week on Roof Hustlers, we got a special edition for you guys, right? We got a 3-part episode. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be covering the 3 biggest threats to your success, right? The first one, it is the lack of self-awareness, right? Your inability to self-assess, right? The second one, escalation to commitment, or also known as commitment bias. You're so stuck in your way of doing things. The second threat that might be stopping you from succeeding at the level that you want to, guys, is escalation of commitment. What does that mean? Or also known as commitment bias, which is doubling down on the things that no longer work, but since you're so committed to doing those things, you just keep doing them. Like you're not stopping and checking and you, like I said, self-assessing. You just keep doing the same thing and you're getting the same results, which is 0 or little to no deals. And then you wondering what's going on with you, right? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So that might be the second thing that's stopping you from going to that next level, guys. Escalation of commitment or commitment bias. You doubling down on the things that you're not good at or the things that's not giving you the results that you want, but you keep doing them over and over and over. Instead of being open to change and being open to coaching, being open to somebody else's perspective, you so dialed in on your own perspective and your own way of doing things, and it's stopping you from succeeding at the level that you want to succeed, right? So I want to give you 3 quick principles or tips on how to overcome that escalation commitment. First thing you can do to overcome escalation commitment, right, is use the past as valuable training. So what do I mean by that? When you go out there one day, guys, and your goal is to get 3 deals and you go out there and maybe you get 0 deals, right? Take time to reevaluate what you was doing good and what you was doing bad, right? One thing I like to encourage guys to do is listen to yourself at the door. Pay attention to the words that you're saying. Pay attention to the filler words that you're doing, right? Maybe you're using the word we offer instead of using the word doing, right? Maybe using the word basically 100 times, and the word basically don't mean nothing. I won't even go on that tangent, right? But you got to use the past as valuable training. The past doesn't define who you are. That's who you used to be. Right. So my first year in the industry, I used to say things that didn't serve me. So I started listening to the stuff that I was saying at the door, started paying attention how homeowners was reacting to it. So I started eliminating certain things and started adding certain things in there. So that's the first thing you could do to get out of your escalation commitment, guys. Use the past as valuable training. Start paying attention to the things that you're doing when you're in the middle of closing a deal, when you're pitching somebody at the door, when you're asking for referrals, right? Maybe you're asking for referrals passively, which is if you know somebody that might be interested, we would love to help them, versus saying, who do you know that might be interested, right? There's little things that you can do like that, guys, where you can reevaluate what you was doing in the past and eliminate the things that don't serve you and start doing the things that do serve you. So that's the first thing you could do. Use the past as valuable training. Don't let it define you, but let it help you become a better version of yourself. Second thing you could do to get rid of that escalation commitment, right, is adapt, adjust, and execute, right? Every time we at the door, we can't be doing the same thing all the time. You got to adapt to the specific type of person that you're dealing with, the specific type of scenario, the specific type of personality. All of those things matter. So you got to adapt to the scenario or the environment. Then you got to adjust your pitch, right? Or adjust the way you're going to approach it, or adjust the way you want to close the deal. And then we execute. But if you're just going up there and doing the same thing every time, not switching up nothing, using the same approach, using the same icebreakers, that's using the same type of closes, you're going to keep getting the same results. So you got to adapt, right? So when we're talking to bulldogs and they come to the door and say, hey, what you want, you got to adapt. So how do we adapt with a bulldog? We give them the big picture up front. Hey, we out here helping people get new roofs. Have you had somebody out here to check out the roof lately? We getting the insurance company to pay for them. You're giving that bulldog the big picture. You adapt, right, to the personality type, you adjust your pitch, and then you execute. So you got to be able to adapt, adjust, and execute, guys. That can help you get out of that commitment bias, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right? So that's the second thing you can do. Adapt, adjust, and execute. The third thing you can do to get out of that escalation commitment or that commitment bias, right, is be open to change, right? Change is the death of one thing and the birth of another. And take that from a guy who don't really like change, right? I was very big in the way I used to do things. I like to do things a certain way. I'm big on consistency. I like things to be the same and stay the same. But I learned that if you don't change and adapt with the times, you're going to get lost, right? So it's just like now in 2022, a lot of people use iPads, right? A lot of people use DocuSigns. They do all of these things to help improve their game. So you got to be open to the change that's taking place, right? The new laws changed in Florida and we had to change the way we sell at the door a little bit, right? So you got to be open to the change that's taking place. You got to be open to somebody else's perspective. You can't be so dialed in on the way that you do things. So you got to understand, maturity is about righteousness. Immaturity is about being right. So you might possess a high level of immaturity, which is stopping you from adapting to the change that can help you close more deals and make more money, right? So to get out of that commitment bias, you got to be open to change, guys. Be open to other people's perspective, other people's way of doing things, because if they getting the results that you want, you definitely should be open to the change. Maybe the way you approaching the door don't benefit you, right? And somebody can give you one little tip, right? Like my boy Ben Menchaga told me how I talked to a guy and he just changed one thing in his pitch and he started closing more deals. But the key thing was that guy was open to change. He was coachable, right? So you got to be coachable, right? So if you want to get out of that commitment bias, be open to change, guys. And if you're not, you're just going to keep getting the same thing over and over. You got to adapt, right? Blockbuster didn't want to change, and what happened to them? They went out of business, right? Because Netflix came and changed the game. Redbox came and changed the game. But if Blockbuster would have changed, it could have been $1 billion industry. So third thing that can help you get out of that commitment bias, you got to be open to change, guys. So that's the second thing that might be stopping you from succeeding at the level that you want to succeed at. You got commitment bias, right? You got escalation commitment. You so tapped and tied into the way that you do things, you don't want to see other people's perspective or other people's ways of doing things. You need to get out of that mindset. And once you get out of that mindset, you can start hitting the numbers that you want and making the money that you want, guys. And that right there, guys, is the second biggest threat that might be stopping you from succeeding at the highest levels possible. Escalation to commitment, right? Or commitment bias. You got to find a way to get out of your way of doing things, guys. It's okay to adapt and change and embrace other people's thought process. So make sure you stay tuned in for next week when we cover the third biggest threat that might be stopping you from succeeding at the highest levels. If you've got value out of today, guys, please do us a favor. Leave us some comments down in the comment box. We do pay attention to those. If there's any topics that you want us to cover on Roof Hustlers, shoot us an email, roofhustlers@gmail.com, and we'll cover that topic for you, right? And make sure you follow us over on the Instagram at Roof Hustlers, TikTok, Roof Hustlers. Make sure you join the Facebook group, the Roof Hustlers group, right? It's a great community. We're going to be doing more free trainings in that as well, guys. So as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate your love and support. And as always, baby, hustle hard, hustle smart, and don't be afraid to bogart. Hustlers, I'm out.